don't forget about the now TV, so like, comment, now subscribe to the channel. Now, Bryce Simon, one of executive for Imani Africa, at the same way I have on a Twitter page, or describe one of the Oratima Mshama and Sakwan say this one in what him that group one day one man say. Won kofo a won de bone adi Ghana skabia no olko no ankoje scanning for won da bra ban no na one of them no company bi wo approachment mu a won de letter tintin abre John Dramani ma o chese mano on point sani pa kuno na o point na wan ya ebe ha na administration due to nsem bi a wo ye under investigation a chese akwya no ne ho nsem wo na enem so won wie ni ntino won ntimi fa results ma office ya demom obon kokko se mo wan man any ministry appointment yes adia result ni ba na se no bo mu dia and ye ono John Dramani Mshama no bebebu no fi na no na then some questions be abase why na yes adia no na
we're on air. They just sent this to me. He said, those who care about the reputation of the new Ghanaian government would be interested in knowing that an international bank has reached out confidentially to the office of the current president with a warning that an individual who intends to be named to high ministerial office is the subject of adverse investigations, and that the outcomes of these investigations may become public. The president was thus being alerted about the potential distractions this individual's appointment may cause, given that Oral's credibility requires the government to maintain the moral high ground. It is generally important that a Ghanaian government avoids a chain of scandals. Scandals accumulate to sap goodwill. We can't say more than this. Adieu. It is coming. Oh, some things are coming. No, but I know who he's talking about. This story has been coming out over the last 1 hour. I know who he's talking about. But we all can't because of regulation, legal, and all of that. You can't come on television and say before the investigators come and say. The investigators are not supposed to be sharing the information with journalists. They're supposed to be sharing the information with official government people. So the investigators have told their colleagues and friends who are media that the information is gone out to the government. You can just say this. That's why Bryce Simons ends, when they discuss it, they always tell you that this is all you can say. That's why Bryce Simons ends by saying that we can't say more. He's just doing fidelity to the conversations he's had with the people who have told him that this is all you can say. So I'm sure in publishing this, he'll send it to them as well. That is all I said. It says that those who care about the reputation of the new Ghanaian government will be interested in knowing that an international bank has reached out confidentially to the office of the current president with a warning that an individual he intends to name to the high ministerial office is subject of adverse investigations, and that the outcomes of these investigations may become public. The president, that is John Dramani Mshama, was thus being alerted about the potential distractions this individual's appointment may cause, given that Oral's credibility requires the government to maintain the moral high ground. It is generally important that a Ghanaian government avoids a chain of scandals. Scandals, he says, accumulate to sap goodwill. We can't say more than that. Lawyer, so when does it say that a bill has ended its life?
Okay, so a bill ends its life conventionally with the parliament that passed it. So, or a parliament that worked on the bill or worked on the processes of getting the bill passed. And so if the bill did not become law with the parliament that initiated or worked on it, then the bill dies with that parliament. And the rationale is that parliaments exist in terms. I don't know if you remember, but recently the Supreme Court even passed a judgment on that issue, where the Attorney General urged the argument that we must interpret Parliament. The case on the crossing carpets.
Yes.
The interpretation of Parliament should be limited to the terms
Yes, of the people.
So
yes.
it's 4 years. You are elected for a term of 4 years.
Yes.
And so that is
So you can't be said to be crossing carpet in the future.
More or less. That is the effect.
Good.
To prevent political parties from controlling what goes on in Parliament and per people's parochial whims, controlling what happens on the floor.
So if a bill comes to Parliament, it's starting from first reading, second reading, third reading, it must complete. When do we say that a bill has completed its life?
So it is laid, when you say complete its life...
Complete its life so that Parliament has finished with it.
Okay, so it is laid, it is read, the first, the second, the third. It is referred to whichever committee would work on it. All the amendments are considered. And then once it is brought in its final state, still as a bill, it is passed after the third reading.
By Parliament.
By Parliament. Now, after it is passed, it is still a bill. It is not a law. So it becomes a law when it is transmitted to the president and the president assents by signing it into law. Now, where do we get this from? This is what we sort of inherited from the UK, because for a very long time...
And the US too.
And the US. Right. So for a very long time, the UK, the monarch of the United Kingdom, was all-powerful. So it was a supreme monarch. They did everything themselves. But as time went on, I don't know if you remember Oliver Cromwell and the fights between parliaments and the monarchy. So they had to sort of attempt to democratize their system. In attempting to democratize their system, they thought it wise not to alienate the monarchy, fully. So the head of state has a role to play in passing the laws. And what role does the head of state have to play? Signing.
Yeah.
So this is what we have sort of carried here.
So in exercising that authority, the president is acting as a head of state as opposed to head of government.
Yes.
All right.
As a head of state in assenting to those bills.
So you are saying that when the bill has passed third reading, passed by Parliament, and is on its way to the presidency, it is still a bill.
It is still a bill.
Okay. So when it goes to the president, what options do the president have?
So under Article 106 of the Constitution, the president has two options. The first is to sign it if he agrees with every term in the Constitution. In the bill. The second is if he disagrees, he has the option of remitting it back to Parliament with a memo that indicates the issues he has with the bill. Now, when he sends it back to Parliament with the memo, Parliament also has another option to sort of accept the recommendations of the president and rework the bill, or to override the presidential decision by a 2/3 majority. So a 2/3 majority of the House, that's about 66%, will then vote, and based on that vote, the bill will be transmitted back to the president. Now, when it goes back to the president has no other option but to sign the bill into law.
So the president still has to sign the bill.
That is
even if his role is circumvented by the law, by the 2/3.
Yes.
Okay. So if assuming that this bill had come back, 2/3 has passed it, the president still has to sign it before it is law.
Compulsorily.
Oh, this one is compulsory. So if he refuses to sign, what happens? The bill would deem passed.
Well, the Constitution is silent on that.
But it would appear so.
It would
if 2/3, if he brings the bill back and 2/3 say we like it, it's deemed passed.
Yes, but Article 106 uses the word shall. So what the remedies available
will be sanctions.
Because
so at that stage the bill is still not passed.
The bill is still not passed. It's not law. Because
so your view of this matter is that you agree with President Mshama that the LGBT bill has failed. It has to start again.
Yes, I agree with
because the argument that is being made by the other lawyers, and we'll show the 6-minute tape of Bafo who was in the studio. The argument they are making is that the Parliament has finished their process.
Yes,
it is before the president. He can sign it. Okay. One president is gone, another president has come. Government is a continuum. So Parliament is Parliament. A Parliament is gone, but they did their work. So this president can sign it. How is that difficult for you to accept?